Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to part 3 of our 4-part webinar series, The Future is Coming into View. I'm Martin O'Riordan. I'm the General Manager and Head of Cybersecurity at Mercury IT. Today I'm going to be discussing how to power up your business with BI. What we're talking about today is data. Data is one of the most powerful tools we have in business, and it certainly forms the cornerstone of our decision-making skills within business. Data is quite exciting. I know that sometimes people think that data is kind of a little bit stale, but realistically, data is the building blocks of how we not only have built our business, but how we're going to build a business going forward. So data is really a whole set of pieces of information that we have collected in disparate applications and databases certainly across the entire business stack. So we have things like our finance system, we have our CRM, we have our operations systems. We have all of these pieces of information that come into different systems, and generally that's where they stay. And what happens is we don't tend to use the information across all of the different stacks and be able to pull it all together to be useful in making quite intelligent decisions on how we can construct our business going forward. That's where BI comes in, and that's where Power BI, one of the Microsoft tool sets that we have at our disposal, certainly comes into its own. In the past, BI has certainly only been really in the purview of large enterprise and governments, because it required a lot of expertise in data science, data analytics to be able to use it, and to be able to use the tools that were available to be able to manipulate the data into something that was meaningful. What Power BI does is it brings all of those tools into the familiar Microsoft look and feel, and in quite an intuitive way that we can not only build out our data sets and our integrations across all of our disparate pieces of information, but it also enables us to build out a whole set of dashboards, visualizations, certainly reports across not only a part of the data, but all of it. So this means that we can actually pull in components of data from our finance system, from our sales systems, from our ordering processes, and we can pull it all together into single dashboards, single reports. Then we can actually start to slice and dice that information to actually make it even more meaningful. So Power BI is a collection of services. It's a collection of connectors that work together. There's a lot of connectors that are out of the box. So there's a lot of native connectors that are already available, so that the integration is quite seamless to be able to connect something like Salesforce into your Power BI application. But there's also custom driven integrators as well. So any data set that we can get an API, we can actually pull information from that data, and we can start to use it in a more meaningful way. So how does that help us? It gives us the means to provide better visual identification of where our business is. It also enables us to actually pull information from those different applications, as I mentioned, but then be able to measure them against another piece of information. So, for instance, I might have sales by area, and that's coming from my sales system, and it's talking to my finance system, so I can actually start to see what cost I may have incurred to actually generate those sales. So it might be something from my marketing system or from my finance system, so I can actually use the different pieces of information together to actually build out a meaningful report. That provides us with insights that we probably never had before. And it also means that we have the ability to change it on the fly. Now, I don't know if it's you're the same as I have. I've spent hours building out graphs and reports for board meetings, only to have the board meeting start and someone will come up and say, hey, but have you thought of providing us with a view where we're not only measuring sales by region, but we're doing sales by region by product? Go, oh, I hadn't thought of that. If I had a tool like BI, I could actually change that on the fly. Even more importantly, I could have set it up so that those board members have access to this all the time. So I don't need to generate a report anymore. They can generate their own reports. Power BI gives us the ability to give all the information that we want. We can actually control the information, so we can actually give limited information to certain roles and responsibilities within the organization, or we can give people full access. It gives that ability for people to generate their own reports, to actually be able to manipulate the data in their own way. So I don't need to necessarily think of what that person's going to ask. They can think of their own report that they want to see. They can think of their own way of visualizing the data. So that is really handy when I start to drill down into, say, an operations manager who wants to see how the efficiency of his team is going, how his production line is actually working, and how his ability to actually get that information through from the other applications that he may not normally have use on a day-to-day basis or have access to, such as the CRM. So they might be able to get an idea of what sales are coming through, trends on sales. So you can start to see, okay, where's the seasonal trends on production needs? So I can actually start to think about, well, maybe I need more production capability in the beginning of the month rather than the end of the month, because I start to fill out my orders. I actually start to process the logistics of that. And what that means is I can start to plan better. And planning better means that I get better efficiencies. This is the kind of dashboard that you can get in Power BI. Now, each one of these dashboards on the login is actually, you can drill down. So you can actually click into it, you can see the data sets, you can actually then create your own reports, and you can actually build out quite a robust, multifaceted report showing not only the components of information that you may have normally had, but the new parts that you don't normally see. And then you can compare them against each other. So I could have product by area, by month, by day. I could have sales by salesperson, by product set, by service. It doesn't limit you on what you can actually visualize. It kind of is just up to you to play with it and actually see what's going to work best for you. You can always reset back to the default. So the great thing about this is the data is always there. You're not actually changing the data. You're only changing the way you visualize it and you see it and how you actually report on it. The Power BI platform is actually a set of applications that work together. So Power BI is one of those applications. We've already talked about Power Automate earlier in our webinar series. There's also Power Apps and there's Power Virtual Agents. All of these applications work together seamlessly across the stack to actually provide information. So what we can start to do is not only analyze the data, we can actually start to use that data to make decisions that flow all the way back through to our other applications. So we can actually write information back based on where we're accessing the data. The Power Apps also work well with the rest of the O365 stack. So Excel is also a tool that we can start to use to export data from or to pull data into our BI platform. So it works both ways. It also means that we can share information across our platforms and we can actually collaborate on our reports. So as we reported in our first webinar, the collaboration piece, we can actually share our Power BI reports, dashboards and visualizations through Teams, and we can actually work on them together collaboratively. It provides a way of understanding what different aspects of information other people want to see in a report or how they want to see the information presented to them. For many years, we've been told to make sure we can see the forest for the trees. That changes somewhat now. We actually do want to see some of the trees, but we want to see them in a way that means something to us. So we can certainly drill down through that information. We can actually change the reports to show exactly the right information for us in the right aspect at the right time. That's where Power BI comes into its own, because as I said, this is a tool that is available to the everyday business, small to large, and it provides a measure of tool sets that we just didn't have at our grasp in times gone by. So it's a data platform, and data really works well when we can actually use it to make the best decisions. As I said, it's data-driven decision making. Early on, we start our businesses up, we use passion and drive and a lot of gut feeling to make our businesses grow and get them started off the ground. To get them actually to scale up, we need to be able to make the best decisions at the right times. And the best way we can do that is by using data in meaningful ways. And that includes being able to slice and dice the data in different ways for different reasons. And it provides us with the way of actually getting the most out of it. There are some examples that come up, certainly things like UPS, where they decided to only turn left. Admittedly, that's a US, wrong side of the road driving component, but when they only turned left, they didn't have to turn across traffic. And they found that they saved millions of gallons of fuel every year and reduced the number of accidents because they weren't turning across traffic. Those things come from analysing data in different ways, in ways that they never thought. Some of their routes are actually longer by turning left, but they're actually use less fuel and take less time. So it's about trying to understand the data and the way that we can actually use it in different ways. This is only really meant to be just a bit of a taster of what we can do, and really whet your appetite about the idea that Power BI is a tool not to be afraid of. It is a tool that we can start to use today. We can actually start to provide those integrations quite quickly. Certainly, some of the integrations can be a little bit more difficult. That's where someone like Mercury IT can come in and help you get the integrations of the data coming in. Once you've got the data sources being fed into BI, the world is your oyster. You can do anything you want with it. Basically, from here, if you have any other questions, by all means, just reach out to us and we might be able to help you out. Or there's a lot of tools online. You can actually go and look up Power BI on the web and you'll be able to find a lot of information about it. Thanks for attending today. I'd like to invite you to join us for our next webinar, Is Your Business Secure? And this is presented by James Heisman, and that is on the 4th of June at 10 a.m. So until then, I'd like to say thank you again for joining us and to take care, and we'll see you all next time.